Hey everybody, good evening. My name is John Kidwell, and I am a nonprofit business coach and leadership coach working to empower nonprofits and their leaders so that they can make great impact in our world and in the communities that they are in. So, wanted to talk with y'all and share kind of this concept and idea that I have, and really talk about a business mind and servant heart and how great nonprofits change the world. So, how is it that one nonprofit succeeds where another one fails? Or even more, why is it that two nonprofits that do exactly the same thing, in exactly the same way, in the same location, can have drastically different outcomes? What is it about Life Church? They're the church that created the Bible app, and it has 500 million users. They also deliver 90 church services in 11 states, in person and online, every week. What is it about Life Church that separates them from another church preaching the same message in the same denomination to similar people? Or Mount Sinai Health System. They're a New York-based hospital system, and they top internationally renowned medical research organizations that do fundraising for medical research. How is it that Mount Sinai tops an organization whose sole purpose is to fundraise and then give that money to charity? How is it that they do it more efficiently and give more money away? And I'm in Texas, down here in Houston, so I got to talk locally about the Houston Methodist Hospital Foundation and how their medical foundation is 5 times larger than other hospitals here in Houston, one of which is an internationally renowned, everybody would know it, medical foundation. And Houston Methodist grew their foundation to that size in only the last decade. What is it about those nonprofits that set them apart? So about 6 years ago, I had an aha moment. And if you're like me, those don't exactly happen when everything is going well. I was a team leader in a local community-based nonprofit, working with volunteers, had a team of part-time folks that I was leading. I was helping out with events. I was doing after-school programs. I was changing the world one person at a time and doing it all with gusto and hard work and heart, all of the things that we need and that we have and embody as nonprofit professionals. But I was also really struggling. I was struggling to deliver on impact, and really I was struggling to meet the budget that I had. So I was about $10,000 short every single month on a budget that was $500,000. So if you do the quick math, you realize that I wasn't going to do so well by the end of the year. And it's at that time where I realized that my desire to serve, my passion for the mission, was only going to get me so far. Because, as I said, I was all in on serving people. I had that servant heart. I would go in, I would work extra hard, trying to just outwork folks or outwork the problem. I would do it extra long, well beyond the time that most of us desire to commit to our job. And it wasn't cutting it. It was still leaving me short. It was then that I realized that that sacrificial servant heart only gets us so far. And oftentimes it leaves us and the people we serve, our families, it leaves them without. And so what I started to do was I started to look at businesses. And really I started to look at businesses that were focused on both profit and purpose. Kind of those altruistic businesses that we hear about. The Bombas, the Toms, those that do good as a part of their business. So looking at those that did really successful, started devouring business books and started taking these things and really started testing them in the organization. I started changing team meeting rhythms and structures. I started focusing on productivity and execution against the plans that we have. I started focusing on pricing, marketing, customer experience, how to engage with and listen to a donor so that they can be connected to the impact they want to make. And strange thing happened. It started to work. All of a sudden, all these little pieces started to come together where we were able to talk about our mission more clearly, where we were able to deliver consistent service to our clients, our recipients, our donors, and where the team and myself and the bottom line of the organization were all in a better place. So much so that that $10,000 problem was solved, and quite a few more. It actually led in 6 years to a spot where myself and the team that I led, we had double-digit growth in fundraising, in earned revenue, and cost savings. It provided me the opportunity to be the vice president of innovation and operations at a $140 million nonprofit. And the most important thing, it grew the impact of the organization, and it bettered the opportunities for the people that we served. And it did it for the team as well. Amazingly, I found that I could work fewer hours and still produce the same results because we had these systems in place, because we were able to focus on the priority drivers of the organization. Myself and my team were able to manage our time and understand and try to live into this work-life balance, work-life integration, and spend more time at home and have the nonprofit serve us as much as we were serving it. And so some of these things I figured out, they apply into Life Church and Mount Sinai and Houston Methodist and what they do. Life Church figured out how to bring that business mind and servant heart together to replicate itself across sites. They focused on leadership and infrastructure and developing those two core pieces of their organization so that they could deliver the same high quality experience across 11 states and in 90 services a week. And Mount Sinai, what they did was they stayed competitive against the cause, but they pulled others in to be collaborative, so much so that they brought two health systems together, and in doing so, they were able to coordinate services. They were able to build systems, all focused on delivering unrivaled patient healthcare. And when they did that, when they brought two systems together, when they focused on the infrastructure, the coordination of services, all with the aim of a seamless experience for the patient, they also changed health outcomes and how the patients experienced Mount Sinai in engaging with them for health services. So we talked earlier about fundraising. The most amazing thing also happened. That coordination of services produced $8 billion in revenue. And when they have that and they have integrated services, they're able to fundraise more efficiently and then give more away to charity. This is how they are able to top organizations that only do that as their function. They do that so well that now they're annually giving away $250 million in subsidized healthcare. And Houston Methodist Foundation, here in my hometown of Houston, Texas, they are 5 times larger than other area medical foundations because they focus rigorously on a strategic vision and plan, on developing and bringing in top-notch leaders, on focusing on the quality of connection with their community of donors, and putting that together with excellent marketing and events. That is what allowed them to grow that large. And that's what allowed them to do it so fast that they quadrupled in size in only the last 10 years. So if we take those things and kind of boil them down and look at what is it about a business mind and servant heart, what about that can go into your nonprofit, the nonprofits that we have? Well, I call them the impact drivers, and there are 5 of them. And they're the thing that I started to focus on, and they're areas that you saw those 3 nonprofits that are performing extremely successfully focus on. So the first one is the mission. Why do you exist? And how do you do it? That's number 1. That's where everything starts. The mission drives everything in our nonprofit. And the more compelling and clear we can communicate that, the more the rest of the pieces of that puzzle come in place. So after the mission, it's all about the people. Ourselves, those we lead, those we serve. How do we align and unify people around our passionate mission and then support them as they go? When we can get those two components together as a leader, the other three start to take care of themselves, kind of like a waterfall effect. It starts to speed up. So after the mission and the people, we plan. Strategic plans, operational plans, development plans. How are we going to do this? What is the annual budget that we are going to do this on? And then focusing on executing against those plans. Because when we do that, we deliver excellent service. This is our external facing service and our internal, how we work with one another. The mission, the people, and the plan are what come together to deliver excellent service. And we need that excellent service because that's where we generate our revenue. And the revenue is what drives the mission. Nonprofit is only a tax status. It's not a financial situation. And sometimes it's hard for us to think about it that way. Sometimes we think nonprofit means dollar in, dollar out, which is absolutely true. None of us are taking home extra earnings because of what was left at the end of the year. We're not distributing. However, a nonprofit does have profit, and what it does with it is what separates it from our for-profit organizations. Instead of paying out to shareholders, board members, or others, they reinvest it into their people, into their infrastructure, into their services. So just like Life Church, Mount Sinai, and Houston Methodist, as they focused on leadership and marketing and their service infrastructure and how they coordinated that, you can do that in your nonprofit by picking mission, people, plan, service, or revenue. Where are you going to start? Which one is the need in your nonprofit? What is most important at this stage of the game for you to impact change and to lead your nonprofit through that? If and when you do, I hope that you find, just as I did, that one, not only will you create more of an impact for those that you serve, but you will also find that the organization starts to serve you as much as you serve it. So what does that look like for you where you are? How do you take your servant heart, bring it together with a business mind for great impact where you serve in the community and the change you are looking to impact? Thanks so much for hanging out today. It was great to talk with y'all. I hope that you have a wonderful rest of the day and lead on.